President Trump has announced that he's going to suspend all immigration coming into the United States. Where did this come from? I don't remember there being a big national debate on this. But before I offer any criticism of the president's plan, I wanted to see his presidential declaration so I could see what the parameters were. But here's the problem. As of Wednesday afternoon, it doesn't exist. Mind you, he tweeted about it on Monday, and he made a big announcement at his press conference on Tuesday. So here we are Wednesday afternoon, and this declaration is nowhere to be found. I guess it shouldn't be surprising. It's not the first time he's done something like this, nor is it the first time that he's announced a grand policy, but gotten the details wrong. Remember his televised address when he announced the European travel ban? He said it would cover cargo, but it didn't. There are people whose lives are affected by the details of these policies. But Trump doesn't think about that. All Trump thinks about is how he can just make himself look even greater to all of his supporters. He leaves his staff struggling to write up the actual declaration without actually giving them the parameters of what they should be doing. And of course, his staff realizes that trying to halt all immigration into the United States is a far more complicated issue than either he or his followers would like to believe. Okay, we're in a crisis right now. I understand that. And we have 20 million people who have applied for unemployment compensation. That's a big problem. And yes, when we're ready to reopen the country, we want those people to be able to go back to jobs. But is a complete immigration ban necessary or even advisable? Look, Trump already believes that harsh immigration policies is going to solve everything. He still believes that his so-called China travel ban was the greatest thing his administration's ever done to slow the current virus. And on many earlier occasions, I've written about how the Republicans' real goal is to keep out as many non-white people as possible from entering the country because they can only appeal to white Americans. If there were more brown voters, the Republican Party would most assuredly never win national elections again. So while the rhetoric has been that they only want to stop illegal immigration, the truth is that the Republicans want to stop all immigration. Illegal and legal. Restrictions on asylum applications and H-1B visas are just two examples of how the president has tried to limit legal immigration for his own political purposes. So let's return to the idea of an entire immigration ban now that we're in this crisis. First of all, not many people are traveling to the United States as it is. There's a question of whether we even need a ban on immigration when nobody's traveling. And second, if we're talking about immigration for employment purposes, there are a lot of companies in this country that are facing a shortage of science and technology workers. We seriously don't have enough people in the United States who can fill the science and technology jobs. That would include, by the way, people needed to find a cure or a treatment for the current pandemic. Those companies have been looking for qualified foreign workers to fill the position for decades. When it comes to family immigration, sometimes what we're talking about are parents of U.S. citizens. In those circumstances, they could be people coming to the United States for retirement. Why would that be a burden on the U.S. workforce? They wouldn't be coming to steal U.S. jobs. We could also be talking about the children of U.S. citizens and U.S. permanent residents. Again, if we're talking about minor children, they're not stealing anyone's jobs. And finally, when we're talking about family immigration, we're talking about the spouses of U.S. citizens and permanent residents. There you have to think. Are we really willing to say to citizens and permanent residents, we're not going to let your spouses come to the United States. Now, President Trump has talked about a temporary 60-day ban, but his staff has been talking about a 120-day ban. And that's one of the problems of trying to understand this when we don't have the text of any presidential proclamation. Just what are we talking about? And as I said before, there's very few people even trying to come into the United States right now. He may want to pretend that we are a popular destination, but right now, since this country has the most cases of this particular virus, not many people want to come here. His proposal of a total ban on all immigration just seems to be a ploy to play to the jingoism and xenophobia of his supporters. And this is the problem of making grand policy announcements before the policy's even formed. Like it or not, Trump has gone to the Supreme Court and he has proven that he has expansive powers when it comes to suspending the entry of people coming into the United States. But I don't think his power is as broad as he thinks it is when it comes to people who are already in the United States. And that's because the Constitution clearly gives the power to regulate immigration and nationality to Congress. But what will this mean for people who have pending cases? What does this mean for people who are in removal proceedings in immigration courts right now? What does this mean for people who may be in the United States and may have been here for years and are looking either to change their status or maybe to making their illegal status legal? Will there be exceptions? Will there be waivers? Will there be a process to apply for a waiver? All of these are issues that would need to be addressed in a presidential proclamation. And that's why it was so irresponsible to announce the policy before it even been formulated. It really just goes to show the total lack of competence of the entire administration, starting at the top.
Thank you for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. If there are any topics you would like me to address in the future, please let me know in the comments below. Now, I don't like talking about this, but I am currently disabled because of complications following cancer surgery. If you're feeling generous, I'll have a link to my GoFundMe campaign in the description below. Thank you.